So what happened here? What are these allegations, and what's Patrick Brown's next move? Let's find out. Patrick Brown joins me now. Mr. Brown, good to see you again. Thanks for taking time to speak with me today. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
How did you learn you were being disqualified, and what reasons were you given by the party?
Well, the party said they had an anonymous allegation that someone on our campaign was being paid by a corporation. We asked for a name of the business, a name of the individual. They wouldn't provide that, so it was an impossible request to respond to. It's like responding to a phantom. The fact that it would go to the extraordinary lengths to disqualify my candidacy is incredible, and frankly disenfranchises the more than 150,000 Canadians that we signed up on this leadership campaign from very diverse communities, from areas of the country where the party needs to grow. It's a slap in the face to democracy in the party, and it's wrong. And we know where this is coming from. This is Pierre Poilievre's campaign. You know, they're the ones who were lobbying Leoc to do this, just like they lobbied caucus to fire Ed Fast for supporting Jean Charest, or how they threatened to kick Michelle Rempel out of caucus for supporting my candidacy. This is Pierre Poilievre's campaign continuing their bullying tactics, and it's disappointing to see democracy in the party damaged like this.
Let's be blunt about what's being alleged here. The party's basically saying you've been caught cheating and that your campaign may well have broken the law. If you believe there were no grounds to disqualify you, why do you believe the party took this dramatic action? What you seem to be suggesting here is that these are Poilievre plants or supporters in the Leadership Election Committee who've made this call.
Yeah, so it was a split decision of Leoc, and Pierre's supporters prevailed. I think it speaks to the fact that he was nervous. He knew with the number of supporters I signed up, the number of supporters Jean Charest signed up, that his path to victory was becoming increasingly tenuous. But this is the opposite of freedom. This is the opposite of democracy when you disqualify an adversary on flimsy accusations. But
what are you saying about the party? These people that work on leadership election committees are sworn to neutrality and to take decisions that are only in the best interest of the party. What are you saying here?
Well, Pierre Poilievre's campaign was publicly telling people leading up to this meeting of Leoc that they were going to get this done, and so clearly they've had influence. The caucus leadership is supposed to be neutral, and they managed to get Ed Fast fired as finance critic. And clearly they had enough supporters to get this through. It was a very contested meeting where half of Leoc found this to be egregious, and it is egregious. There's no democracy when you disqualify one of the leading candidates for the leadership. We really felt that we had a path to victory. I was determined to build a modern, inclusive Conservative Party where we'd fight for every Canadian, no matter who they love, where they're born, the color of their skin, what God they worship. And I challenged Pierre. I know he found that uncomfortable, but I challenged him for being on the wrong side of marriage equality, of Islamophobia. I challenged his position on Bitcoin as being ludicrous. And I challenged his commitment to ban childhood vaccine mandates for polio and smallpox. And I know he's not comfortable with that, but if he can't handle a tough contested leadership campaign inside the party, how is he ever going to do this on a national level? All
right. Okay. So, the decision by the majority of the representatives on the Leadership Election Committee, it boils down to this. They were made aware of serious allegations of wrongdoing by your campaign, that's what they say, related to financing rules in the Canada Elections Act. They say they asked your campaign to respond in writing to those allegations. They weren't satisfied with your answers, so they booted you from the contest. So what are the allegations they put before you?
They said that there was an anonymous complaint that someone working on my campaign was paid by a company. And our response was, tell us who the individual is, we'll look into it. Tell us who the company is, we can look into it. And the party didn't provide any information. And so it's impossible to respond to a phantom allegation.
So hang on. So you're saying to this moment, you don't have a name, never got a name of an individual or a company. So that's what you're saying here?
We're left in the dark. We have no idea. And it's a reason why this was such a split decision at Leoc last night, because half of LEOC was saying, or 6 members of LEOC were saying, how can you disqualify someone without providing any evidence, any information? And so, I appreciate that there was members of LEOC that stood up to this, but Pierre Poilievre supporters got their way, and I think it speaks to his character and the fashion of that his campaign is being run, that they resort to bully tactics like this.
Okay, I'm trying to get a sense of just how unreasonable you think their demands were. Your campaign says you complied with every, quote, bizarre request and unsubstantiated claim from the party. What were the bizarre requests and what were the unsubstantiated claims?
So initially, there was no questions about a financial issue. There was no questions about someone being paid by a business. The first question was, an example was, who's Parminder Singh? Well, we have a number of Parminder Singhs on our campaign, and so we asked them which one. They asked us if we recognized a handwriting sample that was sent in from a membership that was sent into headquarters, and we responded that we didn't recognize the handwriting. And so we responded to every bizarre request they had, but what they took to LEOC and their reason for disqualification wasn't the bizarre questions. It was their claim that someone was paid to work on the leadership campaign from a business.
But you just mentioned a name, and a while ago you told me you didn't have a name, but you did have a name.
No, they said someone. We have no idea who the person is or what the business is.
No, but you mentioned a Mr. Singh, so you were given a name.
No, that was different. That was one of the initial questions. They asked us if we knew who a Parminder Singh was and what membership portal he used, but that was not in relation to this question. That was they had a question about IP addresses at the location he was at, and so there was bizarre questions like that. But the question about someone being paid on the campaign from a corporation, it was in regards to an individual. They wouldn't give us their name.
Okay. The party says it's referred the allegations now to Elections Canada. How concerned are you about an investigation by Elections Canada?
Good. I want it to be investigated immediately. And I want this to be clarified, because when there's a flimsy allegation made like this, it's wrong, and I want to put to bed as quickly as possible. So
would you, like LEOC, not even sure what the likelihood of this is, are you calling on LEOC to release whatever evidence they have publicly so that Conservative Party members can see, the people who bought memberships to support you and bought memberships to support other candidates? Do you want this information LEOC has to be given to the public, although I suspect their answer is that it's being forwarded to Elections Canada, so they can't? Do you want Canadians to see what the evidence is that is the basis for your disqualification?
Absolutely. We have to know what this is about. And right now we're in the dark. Okay, so what's your plan? Well, we're going to look at our legal options. We believe the party is under an obligation to tell us what this is about. We're seeking legal advice on this to see what options we have. Okay, and what's the message to your supporters, people who've signed up for the Patrick Brown campaign? If you're disqualified, their votes either go somewhere else, maybe they don't fill in ballots. What do you think happens? Well, I know they're disheartened, and my sympathy goes to all these Canadians, many who had joined the Conservative Party for the first time, who I convinced to give the Conservative Party a chance because I was going to take it on a different direction. And so I know they feel disenfranchised. And I share their disappointment. The reason I ran in this leadership campaign was to build a big tent inclusive Conservative Party where every Canadian would feel welcome. And my worry, and I think the worry of a lot of my supporters, is that with Pierre Poilievre trying to ensure a coronation, that he's going to create a Conservative Party that is a replica of the Republican Party of Texas and Ted Cruz and some extreme version of conservatism that I believe will be an electoral train wreck. Okay, I want to circle back just to finish on this, to give you a chance to respond to this. Are you saying that you're not only not clear on what the allegations are, and you deny you did anything wrong? So I'm just trying to be clear here. You don't know what's being alleged, and you are saying today you did absolutely nothing wrong, no matter what the party is saying here. We have no idea what the party's talking about. We'd love to know. And if there was, we don't believe our campaign has engaged in anything that is inconsistent with the party rules or elections candidate rules.
Okay, and if there was something done improperly, it's possible, I suppose, that you wouldn't know that. Although it sounds like the party's not satisfied.
We explain the rules to all our membership sellers, to all our volunteers, and so that's why we've demanded. We're shocked by this. We want to know the details of this allegation. It's impossible to respond in a credible fashion without knowing the details.
All right. Patrick Brown, we'll continue to see how this unfolds. Thanks for your time tonight, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.